It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary.
Hello, word nerds, and welcome to the dictionary, hosted by me, Spencer, and all of my wonderfulness. Okay, we only got a few words in this episode, so we're going to get right into it with the first word, which is figurative. Figurative. It's like a fig that you eat. This is an adjective from the 14th century. Number 1A, representing by a figure or resemblance. And that sentence sounded kind of weird to me. Representing by a figure or resemblance, the synonym is emblematic. It's like very symbolic. 1B, of or relating to representation of form or figure in art. The example is figurative sculpture. So this sculpture is relating to a form or figure. Now, are we talking about the human body figure? Maybe we'll learn about that, but it could be other things. Maybe figurative sculpture, I believe, is sculpture that is bodies. Bodies. 2A, expressing one thing in terms normally denoting another with which it may be regarded as analogous. The synonym is metaphorical, and the example is figurative language. Metaphorical language, if we just flip-flop the words. Expressing one thing in terms normally denoting another with which it may be regarded as analogous. It's like we're combining these two things to make them like analogous, like an analogy. 2B, characterized by figures of speech, as in a figurative description. You're using your figures of speech, whatever those are, to describe something. Figuratively is an adverb, and figurativeness is a noun. Comes from the word figure, which is our next word, and I gotta make a sound effect, which is gonna be burp. Here we go with the first form of the word figure. Let's see. Figure, the British and some US say figure? I think that's what it's saying. Just figure. This is a noun from the 13th century. So many definitions. So many! Number 1A, a number symbol. The synonyms are numeral and digit. So any visual representation of a number is a figure. 1B, this is plural, you would say figures. This is arithmetical calculations are figures, as in good at figures. I'm good at figures, good at doing the arithmetic, calculating numbers and x's and figures. 1C, a written or printed character. We're not just talking about numbers, I don't think. It's just any character. Any of those symbolic things. 1D, value, especially as expressed in numbers. The synonyms are sum and price, like we're talking money here. As in sold at a low figure, like a house. A low figure for a house might be 20,000 American dollars, depending on the house. If it was a tiny house, that would be about normal. If it were a mansion, that would be a low figure, a low sum, a low price. That value is low, expressed in numbers. 1E, this is also plural. Digits representing an amount, and the amount is as of money earned or points scored. We have an example, a couple of them. Made 6 figures last year. That person made 6 figures, which means that it's not like they made a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a 6. No, they made their total amount of money made for the year. There's a figure, a digit in the 10 spot, and then the 100 spot, then the thousands. I guess it would be the singles, then the tens, then the hundreds, then the thousands, then the 10,000s, then the 100,000s. 6 figures. The number that they made is 6 figures long. So they could have made anywhere between 100,000 local currency all the way up to 999,999 of their local currency. Because 5 figures would be in the 10,000s and 7 figures would be in the millions. Woo-wee. Let's see. What's another example here? A score in double figures. The basketball team got a score in double figures. It's more impressive when a soccer or football game gets into double figures, because those scores are usually only like 2 or 3 on the high end. Okay, so yes, that was digits representing an amount like money or points. Number 2A, a geometric form as a line, triangle, or sphere, especially when considered as a set of geometric elements as points in space. Geometric elements in space of a given number of dimensions. Oh, this one hurt my brain. The example is a square is a plane figure. Plane as in like a flat plane. Plane. I think I need to reread this one. A geometric form, a line, a triangle, a sphere, I guess also a square, maybe a cube. Any one of those simple things? Especially when considered as a set of geometric elements, like points in space. So the triangle is the 3 points in space to make a triangle. Boop, boop, boop. In space of a given number of dimensions. So, you got 2 dimensions, you make a square, a triangle, a circle in 2 dimensions, it's flat, but then you can express it in 3 dimensions, and you got a whole lot more points. And you're like, then you got a cube. Boop, 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 boop. And you line them all up, and that's, yep, okay, great. It's a figure. It's a figure. 2B, bodily shape or form, especially of a person. This is the one in all these last few words, we've been seeing a lot of figure, human body, figure-related words. The example is a slender figure. Oh, they have a slender figure because that's just how their body is. And other people don't have a slender figure. And they're all fantastic. 2C, an object noticeable only as a shape or form. Only noticeable as a shape or form. The example is figures moving in the dusk. Ooh, that is so creepy. Maybe there's fog. You can only, they're far away, or it's maybe foggy. The whatever's in the environment makes it like, what are those things, those figures? I can't tell. They're just shapes and forms moving around. Moving in the dusk. All we are figures in the dusk. 3A, the graphic representation of a form, especially of a person or geometric entity. That covers a lot of grounds. Geometric, and any of those things that are geometric, those triangles and squares and dodecahedrons, all those things. The graphic representation of it. Maybe it's drawn on a piece of paper. 3B, a diagram or pictorial illustration of textual matter. A diagram or pictorial illustration of textual matter. Are we literally talking about text? Text, I think so. Letters, like all this. I have a lot of text here in front of me. A diagram or pictorial illustration. Pictorial illustration of text? Oh, I don't know. This one is weird. Number 4, a person, thing, or action representative of another. It's just representing another thing, a person, thing, or action. So how do you use this one in context? A person, thing, or action representative of another. You draw a figure, it represents the thing. 5a, the synonym is figure of speech, which will be in the next episode. Figure of speech. Don't know what those are. I mean, I think I do, but I don't know. Number 5b, an intentional deviation from the ordinary form or syntactical relation of words. And I think this is related to figure of speech because it is the 5b. Intentional deviation from the ordinary form or syntactical. You're like, I don't want to talk about things in that way. I'm going to go this other route. I'm going to do it intentionally. That's a figure? I don't know. Number 6, the form of a syllogism with respect to the relative position of the middle term. And I need to re-look up syllogism because I do believe I know it. And here are my letters. Here's the S, too many S's. Y, L, nope, L, L. Here we go. We're cooking with gas now. Where's the G? Oh no, he's lost his letters. Is this, there's the G. Here we go, syllogism. That took way too long. Logical argument that uses deductive reasoning to reach a conclusion based on two premises. Yes, this is sort of what I thought it was. An example is humans are mortal. Socrates is human. Therefore, Socrates is mortal. Yep, that's how it works. But sometimes it doesn't work great. Here's one that's not entirely accurate. An apple is a fruit. All fruit is good. See, that's an opinion statement. Therefore, apples are good. I think that statement is true, but not everybody does. So, back to the definition, the form of a syllogism with respect to the relative position of the middle term. That middle statement, in that last one, it was apples are good. So I guess something that's in relation to that middle term of the syllogism is the figure. Maybe it has a specific term. Number 7. An often repetitive pattern or design in a manufactured article as cloth or natural product as wood. The example is a polka dot figure. Repetitive pattern or design. You call that a figure. I guess I don't. I don't deal with the fabric, so maybe I haven't heard this one. Number 8. Appearance made and also impression produced. The appearance made or the impression produced may be by the appearance that was made when you put on some fancy clothes. You are making an appearance, showing you're giving an impression to the people about maybe how you're feeling in that moment. The example is the couple cut quite a figure. The couple cut quite a figure. Are you talking about the couple cut a rug? They were dancing on the dance floor and made everybody else look terrible? They made an impression on their dancing skills. Or by their dancing skills. Number 9a. A series of movements in a dance. Figure 1, figure 2, figure 3, figure 4. This is how we do the dance. 9b. An outline representation of a form traced by a series of evolutions. And those are possibly with skates on an ice surface or by an airplane in the sky. How many times do you spin around? We got to read that one again. An outline representation of a form traced by a series of evolutions. So is it when the figure skater, figure, there's right there, the figure skater They skate around in a figure eight or an infinity symbol. Let's draw it this way for you. That line that they make is the figure. Is that why it's called figure skating? Interesting. Number 10, a prominent personality. The synonym is personage, person with AGE, personage. They are a prominent personality. The example is great figures of history.
Great figures of history.
They're people, and they were prominent, and they had personalities. Number 11, a short, coherent group of notes or chords that may constitute part of a phrase, theme, or composition. We're talking about music. A short, coherent group of notes, just do-do-do-do-do. That is a figure, and you can replay the again over and over again. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Okay, that was great. There's not much with the etymology. I don't know, maybe we had it somewhere else before. It says it's from fingere. I think we saw that maybe in the last episode or two, and I can't remember. So we're going to go. Oh, what was my sound? It was like a brrr. Now we have the second form of figure. This is the verb, though, and it is a verb from the 14th century, starting with transitive. Number 1, to represent by or as if by a figure or outline. And maybe we're talking about the figure skater or the plane on this one. Figuring an outline. Number 2, to decorate with a pattern. Maybe it's the figure pattern of the polka dots or the stripies. Also, to write figures over or under. This is about the music. Over or under in order to indicate the accompanying chords. And where it's over or under is the bass. The bass. What's that song? It's a good song. Can't remember how that goes. To decorate with a pattern of notes, and specifically to write figures over or under the bass in order to indicate the accompanying chords. So are these the things where, like in the musical staff, you see at the top it'll say F or C or G sustained, diminished. Are those the figures? It must be something else. I don't know, maybe not. Number 3, to indicate or represent by numerals. We're talking about the numbers here. Number 4, A. For A, the synonym is calculate. So just numbers. You're figuring it out. You're calculating. What is 2 plus 2? Oh, God, let me figure this out. So we have a 1 and a 2, and then we got a 1 and a 2, and then I'm figuring out that we have 4. I always got to go to the basic stuff because that's as much as my brain can handle. Number 4, B. The synonyms are conclude and decide. As in, figured there was no use in further effort. I concluded, based on all of my research, that we should quit. Also, the synonym assume. As in the example, figure it will rain. I figure it will rain. I'm assuming based on the Doppler radar and my weather app and looking outside to see the big storm clouds. I figure it'll rain. For C, synonyms are regard and consider. Consider this, figure this. I always like to replace the synonyms with the word or vice versa to get another idea of how to use it. For D, to appear likely, as in figures to win. Figures to win. It appears likely, that team has 42 points and the other team only has 27 points, so I'm figuring they're going to win. I figure. Okay, now we have intransitive, number 1A. To be or appear important or conspicuous. To be important or conspicuous, or to appear important or conspicuous. Those two words don't quite go together in my mind. Important and conspicuous. Scratchy my head on that. But if you, so you are figuring, you are, whatever. 1B. To be involved or implicated, as in figured in a robbery. I don't feel like people are using this one so much. You're implicated in a robbery. So yeah, you got figured. Could this have come from fingered? You pointing at the person? That person was part of the robbery. I saw them coming in with the gun to rob the bank, and they weren't wearing a mask, so that was pretty stupid. I'm pointing at them. I figure it was them. Number 2, to perform a figure in dancing. Boop, boop, boop. My feet were moving. You couldn't see it. You couldn't hear it either, except when I hit the microphone. Number 3, synonyms are compute and calculate. Yep, just working on those numbers. Hurts my brain when I gotta figure those numbers. Number 4, to seem rational, normal, or expected. The example is, that figures. These days, at least for myself, I say that tracks. I hear a lot of people say that tracks. Yep, that makes sense. That is normal. That is about what I would expect that you would do. Oh, Spencer started a podcast where he read the dictionary? That figures. 5. To make sense of something, and this is used interjectionally in the phrase, go figure, to suggest that something is surprising or perplexing. Yes, that is true. To make sense of something. To make sense of something. That's the definition. There is and another example. Why do they think women will buy this lie? Go figure. That is a quote from Ellen Bravo. Ellen Bravo. Why do they think women will buy this lie? Who knows? Try and make sense of why women will buy this lie. What's the lie? Oh, there could be so many things. Go figure. Go work on that. Go calculate that. See if you can figure out why, because I can't. Figurer is a noun. Oh, we got a phrase, figure on. Number 1, to take into consideration, as in figure on the extra income. You gotta figure on the extra income. You gotta incorporate it into your calculations. You have to take it into consideration. Oh, well, I'm gonna be making $1,000 extra next month, so I gotta figure that into my budget. Figure on. Figure on. Number 2, to rely on. Figure on. That's similar to, didn't we have something, regard or consider? Yeah. Number 3, the synonym is plan. As in, I figure on going into town. I figure on going in. These are old. I feel like these phrases are old. I figure on going, or maybe not just old, maybe just in certain areas is where they say these things like this. I figure on going into town. I think I'm going to go get me some moonshine. Sorry, that was maybe disrespectful. I'm just trying to put it into some context that makes sense to me. And me as somebody who is different than that. And okay, moving on. Next word is figured. Figure with a D, adjective from the 15th century. Number 1, adorned with, formed into, or marked with a figure, as in figured muslin and figured wood. So this muslin, or it's like a fabric, or this wood is adorned with a figure, formed into a figure, or marked with a figure. And is the figure this pattern? The polka dots, the stripes, the chevron, the crisscrosses, flowers, any sort of pattern, I guess. You put it on the muslin or the wood, so it is figured than the thing. Number 2, being represented. That's the definition, being represented, as the synonym is portrayed. So maybe the real life human was figured on stage by an actor because they were portrayed in that way. Number 3, indicated by figures. Lots and lots of figures, maybe number figures. All right, we just have one more because that was a whole big, huge section. Bruh. The last word is figured bass. 2 words. Noun from 1801. The synonym is continuo. And I don't know what that is. Now, is it bass or bass? It seems like it should be bass. Continuo? What is that? Why are there things that I don't know? Oh, I don't know. That's just because you haven't learned everything yet. Continuo. Here we go. Continuo. A bass part, as for the keyboard or stringed instrument, used especially in Baroque ensemble music and consisting of succession of bass notes with figures that indicate the required chords. Figured bass and thorough bass. It's the part of the music that's the bass part, usually in Baroque ensemble. And it's just a bunch of bass notes, but I feel like, is there a visual representation of this? It's the bass part. It's figured because it is shown in figures. Figured bass. Let's see. There's a whole link for this. Let's see. So why is it figured? In musical notation in which numerals and symbols appear above or below or next to a bass note. The numerals and symbols, often accidentals, indicate intervals, chords, or non-chord tones that a musician playing piano, harpsichord, organ, or lute, or other instruments, blah, 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 should play in relation to the bass note. Okay. So this goes back to that one that we saw before, but it was about the musical notes, talking about, you remember. Oh, here, to write figures over or under in order to indicate the accompanying chords. So in this example, it shows a musical staff, and then there's one bass note that you're playing. God, I've never seen this before. I guess that's because I don't play the harpsichord or the organ or the lute or the piano. So it shows one note, but there's other things below it or near it that say, you know what? Why don't you go ahead and play these other notes as well? If you're feeling fancy today, go ahead and put some other notes in there. Like accidentals, which are sharps and flats, or other things that say this is the type of chord that you should be playing. Go ahead and do that. Have some fun with it. Or just play the note and be boring. Okay, figured bass, that's it. I learned something. Whew, now I gotta pick a word of the episode. Today we had figurative, figured, and figured bass. I'm gonna pick figured bass because I like music. I like music. I didn't know about the continuo. The figured bass tells you what bass notes to play in addition to the note that's there. That was great. Wonderful. Everybody's so happy. All right, now I'm going to tell you about a movie because you get a little bit of a bonus, a little extra non-related bonus thing here at the end of the episodes. And I like to talk about movies, and I like to watch movies. So let's talk about movies. We watched, I don't really know why, but we watched the 2019 Black Christmas. I think I think Sharon knew somebody who had watched it, and she was like, I think I need to rewatch it to remind myself of how I feel about it. And it's I mean, it's a fine movie. It's a horror movie. It's a modern horror movie. I think that calling it Black Christmas may not have been maybe the right choice. There's not a lot of similarities to this Black Christmas to the original Black Christmas, which is great and should be watched by everybody, maybe not children. So, I think they were trying to capitalize on that a little bit. It's sorority, women in a sorority in college on Christmas time. And, there are other things, but that's kind of the main idea. And they go another direction than the original one did. And it just should have been called something else. I don't know what, but something else, probably. Anyway, okay, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for checking out this show. And until next time, this is Spencer dispensing information. Goodbye.